And all right, so good morning, everyone. My name's Jesse Hildebrand, and I'm part of Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants. For those who haven't joined us before, we're all about bringing conservation, adventure, and science into classrooms around the world. Today we have a really full house, which is great. So I'm going to go one by one through all our classes and give them a chance to do a big shout out. So first, we have Mrs. Piscatelli's class from Freehold, New Jersey, grade 4s. Yes, you got me standing in there.
Stand up.
Excellent. We've got Mrs. Wilson's class, also from Freehold, New Jersey, also grade 4s. Yes. We've got Glenwood Elementary in Virginia Beach. We've got some Storm fans. We've got Mrs. Robiard's class in Austin, Texas. We've got a whole group of classes from London, Ontario today.
Oh! I hope.
Hi, guys. Hi.
London, jump! Green screen!
Okay. You needed to give them permission, Mark. All right. We've got Mrs. McKay's class from St. Albert, Alberta. With hats and everything. And then we've got Mr. D'Amato's class from Cranford, New Jersey. You'll have to demute your own mic for the enthusiasm. But we can see you. There we are. Good. I think I got all right. I think a few more might have joined in. Well, lots of enthusiasm later. Of course, the reason you're all here today are for our speakers. We're joined by Jaclyn Whittal and Mark Robinson from Storm Hunters on the Weather Network up here in Canada. When the rest of us run away from inclement weather and hurricanes and tornadoes and lightning storms, they drive straight into them, which is wonderful. Without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to them and to let them tell you all about what it is they do. So thanks so much for being with us here today, guys.
Thank you very much. I think we can't stop smiling and laughing because of how loud those kids were. That was just so much excitement. We're so glad that you're excited about storms just like us. And also, if anyone wants to go to theweathernetwork.com, if you live in the States, you can actually get our forecast, and you'll see me on there every single day doing your forecast. So we're actually in the States now and Canada. Mark and I chase storms, all over.
We've been chasing for quite a few years. I've been chasing since 2000. Jack, you've been chasing since
2011.
2011. So Jack, a little less experience than me, but we've definitely been, and we have been all over the place. We have been all over the United States, hurricanes, tornadoes. I've chased fires. I've jumped into a live volcano in Africa. I've been to the Arctic and the Antarctic. So I've been all over the place, and I've got some stuff to show you guys. So the way this works is they can actually see my desktop. So this is really cool. So when I bring it up, Jesse, I think do you have to reset the desktop, ready to do that?
No, no, I'll be fine. That's good. So you try it, and I'll tell you when it works.
Okay. All right. So I got the desktop up now.
And then if you screen share, which is the little blue the green button with the arrow in it, click that, and then it'll be the left thing to share your screen.
Oh, hang on. Let me just jump back to here. So we have to.
Oh, right.
Yeah, we have to jump back here. Screen share.
There we go.
Share. Now everyone can see themselves, right?
We can see your PowerPoint. There should be a way to make it a full screen, but you're good. It's up.
There it goes.
There it goes.
There we go. Perfect.
Now, can you guys see my? Can you guys see my mouse?
Yeah. Yes.
We can see your mouse. Yep.
Perfect. See, they can't.
Okay.
So now Jaclyn can proceed to make faces at me.
I am making a face at him right now.
Right, there you go. All right, so this is we'll start off. This is Jack and I chasing adventure, getting in the way of science, getting in the way of nature for science and awesomeness. All right, so the one thing I love to say when I first start off is, if you don't fall down, you're not trying hard enough.
I like that.
Now, it's a very famous person. Yeah, it's my dad actually. So
it is?
No, it's my dad who always said that. But
I didn't know that.
Here's you want to see us fall down or see me fall down? I have to get mine and Jaclyn's shot of us falling down, but watch this.
You haven't heard winds over 140 kilometers per hour. Yeah, this is definitely what we call the hurricane roar, and that's what I'm always looking for. And it's almost subsonic. Have you ever been to a concert?
for it. Wait for it.
Chris, are you okay?
There we go.
I think we're okay. But we've lost our mic shield. Okay. You okay? We've lost our mic shield though, so we're
Now, guys.
back in the car now. Okay.
Now, guys, that was actually that was our chief meteorologist here at the Weather Network, and we were in winds. Does anybody want to guess how fast those winds were? In kilometers an hour, maybe? Because I can't actually see anybody. Okay, well, you know what? What I'll do is I'll tell you. It was 172 kilometers an hour. That's well into the hurricane force winds. And keep in mind, that's in the middle of winter, so the temperature was minus stupid with the wind chill. Now, Jack, you actually got a chance to experience one in PEI. Tell them a little bit about that one.
I did. Mark and I, was that last year or the year before? I think it was the year before.
Year before.
Yeah, we were in a little town called Summerside, Prince Edward Island, and we were in a nor'easter, so like what you just saw, a blizzard with winds just screaming, at us. I'm not exactly sure the exact wind speeds of that storm, but we had, blizzard-like conditions, and I saw that video of Chris, our chief meteorologist, and Mark before, and I thought, okay, definitely can't fall. I better not get blown off my feet. That'll look like I copied their bit. And then Mark and I are out in the field, and we're up to about our knees, about 3 or 4 feet of snow, and this wind gust basically took me right off my feet, and I knock Mark right down, and we fall in the snow. And I'm laughing so hard I can't even think about getting back on TV because I'm laughing so hard that I actually just did exactly what I said I wasn't going to do out in the field.
Yeah, you weren't ready for it. You were not.
Totally
you had no idea what you're in for. But Jack and my favorite thing to chase is tornadoes and hurricanes. And the first thing we like to, the first one we like to chase is tornadoes. And we've been through, after this year.
Oh, geez.
Well, we had, I think, 15 tornadoes this year, if not more than that.
And when we say this year, that means we're in Tornado Alley, which is like Kansas and Oklahoma and Texas. Of course, we'll talk to some of you, I'm sure, about some severe weather in Texas.
Austin, Texas, yes, in Austin. We've been through Austin.
But yeah, well, that means we're basically in that area for the month of May, typically. And so we saw 15 tornadoes around the month of May.
Yeah. So the one thing about the difference between hurricanes and tornadoes for us is that we stay outside the tornado and we go inside the hurricane. So this shot you're seeing right here, that's Hurricane Katrina. And this shot here with the tornado there, that is Goshen County, Wyoming. And it's sort of it's a very famous tornado because this was the first time anybody ever got a car inside the tornado. It was Reed Timmer. Reed was in there. Yeah, Reed got his car in there. I've showed him this shot, and he laughs because he then shows me his shot of being inside the tornado. So he always gets a kick out of that one. So this is a well-known one. And then if we jump around, I also explore the planet. Jack and I have been to a few places. Now, Jack hasn't been everywhere I've been.
No.
But there's a couple places I've been. This is the Yukon Territory, up in very, very, very far north in the Arctic, and that's the Northern Lights. This is me on a ship going through the Northwest Passage. This is me in Hurricane Sandy. Jack and I were down in Hurricane Hermine. She always makes fun of me because I can never pronounce the name of that hurricane right. This is the last shots of the boardwalk in New York City before the boardwalk was completely destroyed by Hurricane Sandy. This is the Antarctic, and that's actually a whale, a humpback whale, spy hopping. So it's actually coming up and taking a look above the water to see what was going on, to see what we were doing. And I can tell you right now, whale breath stinks. And then, okay, I'm going to skip the volcano. I know that's really cool. This is the show that Jack and I host. And if get this one running, oops. Okay, so there we are. Here we go.
It's Friday, 31st of May.
Now this is a well-known one. This is the first year we were chasing?
No, this is
the second year we did? Sorry.
No, this is the first year we were chasing.
This is the first year Jack and I really chased together.
Yeah, we can't wait. The biggest question would be, will it start to turn right? Because to get more easterly, you've got to be able to.
Yeah, this isn't the whole show. This is a real quick bit, but we'll just watch.
That could be possible. I can see the edge of it, so. Oh, it's a tornado. a huge, violent tornado right now approaching Union City, south of El Reno, Oklahoma. Tornado through us about 200 yards. I've never been through anything like it before. My light flashed before my eyes. It is still on the ground and it's still big.
Tornado's coming at you and you need to flee, and everyone is stuck on these roads. Really, your exit strategy is gone now, and you're stuck in traffic with a very dangerous storm approaching.
That hook, that tornado would be right there. That's where we're at. Okay, I know we know. If it's still on the ground, we are just dead stopped here. This is a little scary.
So we dropped out and it sort of came out and hooked this real sharp turn back up towards the north. And that's where it caught a bunch of people. Power flash is behind us.
Power flash?
Stay in the car just for a second, okay?
Probably the most unsettling moment at the time was, are our friends dead or alive?
We lost communication with another friend of ours, and we didn't hear from him for a couple hours, and we thought maybe he lost his life. The tornado south of I-40. Looks like it's on the radar, south of I-40. North of Union City right now.
Now, just so you guys know, hopefully you guys can still hear me. Dan, our friend Dan here, has cameras pointed at the front of his car and out the rear of his car. So you're going to see a shot in a second of the cameras pointed at the back of his car. Right here. This shot, he's actually looking at the rear-facing cameras in his car.
We were in safe position, and we just sort of looked at each other and went, oh my God, this is it. This is it. This is the one.
So now we're looking at the back of Dan's car. So that's an 18-wheeler that was following him, and they get hit by the tornado right here.
Tornado right now approaching Union City, south of El Reno, Oklahoma. We may actually quickly try to get in our cars and get south of this. That'd be the safest place to do that. I think we have to go now in order to stay ahead of this and not get run over by it. You have to go faster. Go as fast as you possibly can.
So you're going to see here, these guys are racing south, and that's the way you're supposed to do. But the problem is that they're racing south into the tornado. So what happens is they drive directly into the tornado right about here. And what's amazing, you see the window smash, the camera falls out of the truck and lands and keeps filming.
Veteran Weather Channel meteorologist Mike Bennis, all trying unsuccessfully to run away from a tornado. This is the camera. It never stopped recording. Watch it here as you can actually see Bennis's truck rolling over and over in the field.
There was a moment where we were kind of weightless, and I knew we were in the air, and it felt like forever. And I had this moment where I truly felt like maybe I was going to heaven.
There you go. So that's part of one of the shows. Now the shows each go on for about 23, well, it's half-an-hour shows. So this is the next question we always get. Why do you do this? And this is why. Because you get some incredible, incredible pictures. Now, Jack, what is this?
That is
What are they looking at?
That's called mammatus. Those are mammatus clouds, and they happen when basically you have the opposite of rising air. You get sinking air from the top of the thunderstorm. So it's actually colder, denser air sinking down. You get these little pockets, and it's incredible to see. This shot's awesome because the lightning is lighting up the Mamatis, and what you're looking at the bottom of the picture is an updraft. So that's the rise. That's the start of the thunderstorm, the rising part of the thunderstorm, and it's tilted, and it's just absolutely beautiful to a storm chaser.
And it's spinning like a top.
A top.
Now this is the other one. Now this is what we call a shelf cloud. And this is over, well, actually from you guys in London, you'll sort of know the lake that this is over top of. Lake St. Clair, which isn't too far from you guys. That storm right there proceeded to go right across Lake St. Clair, kept going, rolled right over top of London, and eventually actually went through Niagara Falls. So this whole big storm was absolutely incredible. I'm standing right on the edge of the water, and the people, those poor people in the cottages were just going, "No!"
And Mark, tell them when that comes over you, what happens.
Well, what's really cool is that with this one, it's actually not producing tornadoes. There's no tornadoes in this. There isn't a big danger of that. But what happens is as it passes over top of you, the wind direction switches completely 180 degrees and will hit you with a whole bunch of wind and rain and small hail. So not quite as dangerous as the big ones we call supercells, but we're going to get into that in just a few minutes. So how do you chase a thunderstorm? And what do you do with once you've caught it? And this is a shot I used to always love to show.
Is that you?
Yes, that's me. I used to show this because we never would get in front of tornadoes. In the last few years, we've gotten in front of tornadoes. And here's a rather famous shot. And Jaclyn's going to laugh at this because I hadn't met Jaclyn at this point, but she is in this shot.
On the ground, yeah.
I'm not sorry. You are right behind us.
There it is.
So what I've never met Jaclyn before, and she is just pulling up in that truck. See that truck pulling over?
That's me.
That's Jaclyn in that truck there. So now I get a lot of questions at this point. Is this dangerous? Like, is this coming at us?
No, it's really not. It's actually crossing the road. It looks like it's coming down the road, and I can remember that was, by the way, my first tornado. So
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's actually my first real tornado. The first one I saw was just a little spin up. This is number 2, but first real one. And I thought it was dangerous because I thought it looked like it was coming down the road, and it appears that way, but it's not. It's actually moving over the road. I did have an interview with a lady that took shelter and didn't do a lot in the way of damage. This is a little town called Ada, Oklahoma. I will never forget it. And that shot, we ran that shot on our Weather Network intros and Force of Nature segments. If you know Force of Nature, a lot. That's probably all of us screaming and celebrating.
That's
like,
Dana. Actually.
Is that Dana?
That's Dana. Yeah, it's our friend Dana, who actually works here at the Weather Network as a meteorologist.
Yeah, that's the thing about storm chasing is a lot of our friends are storm chasers, and a lot of the people we work with are meteorologists and storm chasers. So it becomes kind of a tight-knit group.
Now it's really windy here, so I'm having actually a little bit of trouble holding the camera still because the wind is just howling into that tornado. You saw Jaclyn for a brief second there. You'll see her again in a second. So you can actually see there's that tornado. Now it's sort of paralleling us, so we're actually pretty safe there, but it's coming towards us a little bit, and we decided, you know what, we probably should get out of the way.
No.
And then we'll
There's me.
There you are.
There's me.
Get him in the.
And we don't even know each other. That's hilarious.
So Jack always gets mad at me for the shot because I end off with showing her rear end in the shot.
Great.
So that was Ada, Oklahoma. So where does this all occur? So this is a map. Each one of those little red dots is a tornado somewhere in the world over a 1-year period. So you'll see there's tornadoes in Australia, New Zealand, Japan, South Africa, Bangladesh has a small tornado alley. England has tornadoes. They're very small and polite tornadoes, but they do have them. But where it all comes together is here in Tornado Alley. So you guys in Austin, you're right in the heart of Tornado Alley. And what's very amazing about this is that North America is a machine. It's a machine for producing thunderstorms. It's just got the perfect geography. So what we have to the south is a tremendous amount of heat and moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. And you'll see that there's a country north of the line there, really is, And Jack, explain what country is up there.
That's Canada for you folks that live in the deep south. And we don't all live in igloos. We actually have cities just like you. And we get tornadoes in Canada. We get severe weather.
We're going to show that.
We're going to show that.
We're going to show that in a second.
And we also get a lot of snow, but we don't live in igloos.
Yeah.
Promise.
Well, what we do have though is a lot of cold air. So that cold air coming down from Canada clashes with the warm, moist air coming up from the Gulf of Mexico. Now, what's amazing, though, is we look to the west there. On the west side of that map, there's a tremendous amount of mountains. Those act quite literally as a wall to that warm, moist air getting out to the Pacific, and it also acts as a wall from the cold air. So it forces those two air masses together right into the center of the country. Right around Oklahoma, Texas, and Kansas in May. Now, if we go a little earlier in April, we're down near Louisiana and Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, and Texas. Often happen at the beginning of the year. And then as we get further and further into the summertime, that whole tornado alley begins to shift north up to here. So Canada actually has two tornado alleys. One being in the provinces of Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. And then, of course, we also have Southern Ontario. Southern Ontario is well known for its tornadoes. We don't get anywhere near the numbers, though, the United States has. And the United States gets anywhere between 800 and 1,000 tornadoes every single year. Whereas down where when we're talking about Canada, we're seeing an average of about 60 to 70 tornadoes per year, but that average may be higher. There's some data now that may say that our numbers may be closer to 300 or 400, but we're just not seeing as many of them because we just don't have as many people in the sort of the more barren areas of Canada where tornadoes occur on a pretty regular basis. We're starting to find that out using Google Earth and Google Maps and a lot of satellite imagery of northern Ontario and northern parts of Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Alberta. And the furthest north that I've ever seen a tornado that I've heard of is Inuvik in the Northwest Territories. Yes, it's a confirmed tornado in Inuvik. And if you were to look on this map, look to the very, very top of the continental part of Canada and right up there, way, way, way up north of British Columbia, that's where Inuvik is. And there was a tornado there a couple of years ago. I have a picture of it.
And just to add to something Mark was saying, that we really can get severe weather any day of the year, especially in the States. We have a severe weather risk actually this Saturday. So if you live, and I know you're in Austin, I'm not sure if Austin will be entirely included in that, but certainly eastern Texas and Arkansas and Louisiana, they have severe weather even in December, into January, that kind of thing. So it's all about air masses, as Mark was saying, and how they interact with one another.
All right, but there we go. But you came here to see this, right? You want to see what can severe thunderstorms give us? Well, here's two shots. The one is doing something the other one isn't doing. What is that one doing, Jaclyn?
That one's rotating.
Good.
Yeah. Whoa, it was on the spot there.
I know.
But yes, it's rotating. You can tell the motion in that picture that you took. It's a gorgeous picture.
Yes, Dave Lewison took it actually.
Oh,
but that's
well,
okay.
I'm sorry, that's a friend of ours.
It's a friend of ours. These are two shots. So the one is rotating. This is what we call a
supercell.
There you go. So the one is actually far more dangerous than the other one. The rotating storm is what we call a supercell. And this is why meteorologists get paid huge amounts of money to have come up terms with like supercell. We don't get paid a lot of money. But supercells produce things like this: giant hail. So look at those giant chunks of hail. And then this is our friend Chris Kreidler's car after being struck by some gigantic chunks of hail. And the hail that hit her there were about coconut size.
Coconut.
Yes, and that was in Piedmont, Texas.
And by the way, she still drives that same vehicle.
No, she got a new one.
Oh, did she?
This is her old one.
It's a Honda Element.
Yes, this is her new. This is her old one.
Okay, I made that part up.
Yes, this is her old. She's actually gone through a couple of cars because they've been smashed by hail. So, but this is, we talk about hail, but lightning is the scary one. This is the one that chasers are most afraid of. This is the most dangerous thing for chasers.
I've seen you and I scared in the car where we get, or outside the car, we get right back in because the lightning danger is too big. Now,
are you safe in your car, Jaclyn?
No.
From lightning?
Well, you're more safe in your car. Yeah, yes, you are. I guess you are safe in your car, but you're never really safe from lightning. You get struck.
If you're actually surprisingly safe in your car.
Because of the tires.
No, it's not because of the tires.
Why?
We're doing a bit here for you guys. No, it's actually not the tires. It's actually the Faraday cage effect. So what happens is the lightning will strike the outside of your car and travel around the shell of the car and then ground itself out to the ground. So instead of the tires actually having anything to do with it, because you got about maybe 6 inches of rubber, the lightning just jumped 2 miles from the sky down to their car. It's not going to have trouble with about 6 inches of rubber. No trouble at all. But you're actually quite safe inside the car. Now, modern cars get a bit of a problem that you put that much electricity through and around a car, blow out every single electronic component in the car. So you're actually very safe inside the car as long as you don't lick the inside of the car. So just don't do that.
Don't do that.
But are you safe outside?
No.
Very good.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. We are not safe outside the car at all. We're actually, if you actually want to get shelter, that's the most important thing. So if you've got lightning storms, if you've got thunder, you're going to want to get indoors as quickly as you can. We have this little rule. You stay inside your shelter until 30 minutes after the last lightning strike, because we have seen, and we saw this year, bolts from the blue.
Mm-hmm.
And these are bolts that come out of the side of a thunderstorm, come way down, and will hit well outside the thunderstorm. So you have to be very, very careful, especially in lightning-prone areas like Tornado Alley.
There's also a saying called, if thunder roars, go indoors. So that's always a good one to remember.
Exactly. Now, this is one of the ones that scared the pants off me. I was taking this shot at night, and I shot that one, and I was inside the car, and I was talking to my friend George, and I said, oh, I'm not going to get anything today. And I just said, I'll shoot it one more time because I'm talking to you on the phone. And I did that. This struck about 2 seconds after I said that. I threw the phone and dived inside the car. And all I could hear was the phone on the ground outside with George going, hello, hello. This is my favorite new lightning shot. This is not a North American lightning bolt. This was from Africa. So this is my first African lightning bolt in Lake Kivu, and it's actually one of the most dangerous lakes in the world. And I'm not going to explain why it's the most dangerous lakes in the world. You guys have to Google it just to find out. But this is what you came to see. Tornadoes. This is my first tornado. This was in 2001, and it was in Campbellville, Ontario. So my first Canadian tornado. I'm 1 up on George, 2 up on George because I've actually seen, oh no, I'm 4 up on George now in Canada, because I've actually saw 2 tornadoes this year that nearly got me. So this is a one that was right near where the office where we are right now. But this is how we rate them. We rate them on the Fujita scale. If anybody's seen the movie Twister, there's great scenes where they're always going, that's an F5, let's go chase it. And chasers all go, ugh, right?
Yeah. That's right. Because you can't actually visually look at a tornado and give it a rating. You have to see the damage, what it does after it's occurred. You have to measure, or not measure, but the estimated wind speeds and the damage is what makes up what's now called the enhanced Fujita scale.
Yes, I actually have to update this slide.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yes. This is, okay, so this is, I'm going to take you through real quick. And after that, you guys can ask us a few questions, and we'll show you one last piece of video. And then, actually, I'll show you one last piece of video, and then you can ask us some questions. So this is EF1 damage. So no big deal. If the EF1 hit the office where Jaclyn and I are right now, we might notice it. We got our front building is all glass. We might smash some windows out there. The Weather Network would be very excited and very happy that we got something that close. So this is EF2. So we're gonna get a little more serious. These are all shot, and Jaclyn and I have both shot these pictures. And this is from the Moore EF5 damage path from 2013. So EF2, you can sort of see roofs begin to come off, shingles begin to come off. EF3, now whole sections of houses are gone, cars are moved, and debris is flying everywhere. EF4, now we're into the major tornadoes. This is when cars are lifted and thrown quite far distances. Houses are demolished or completely destroyed, but not completely cleared away. And finally, we have oh, actually, sorry, I have one more thing, one more story. This is one actually I still have trouble getting through without without getting a hitch in my voice. Let's just say, what you're looking at here is a strip mall. In this strip mall was a karate studio, a hair salon, and a child daycare. And there were 2 women that were running the daycare. They were 22 and 23. I can't remember their names off the top of my head. So if you remember the names, okay.
I cannot.
Jaclyn and I arrived at this strip mall about 8 hours after the tornado, and we came across the damage path, and we said, okay, we wanted to film this because we were some people clearing debris away, and an older gentleman came over to, I believe you.
Yeah, I was just kind of chatting with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said
he was basically the father of the one daycare owner.
Yeah, and he said, I've got a story to tell you about my daughter. I want to tell you a story about my daughter. And Jaclyn and I, both being journalists and meteorologists, sort of went gulp, like, this is a story we're very afraid to hear. But we had a job to do. So Jaclyn, to Jaclyn's great credit, she's like, okay, please tell us your story. And he said, I'm so proud of my daughter. And Jaclyn and I went, oh, okay, so this actually sounds better than we thought. What had happened was the two daycare workers saw the tornado, saw the Moore EF5 coming towards them. And I've seen pictures, we've seen video of it afterwards. I've seen it, and it just looks like a big black cone with debris flying around it. It's just screaming winds. And they said, we have a choice. We have a choice to jump in the car, and the two of them could survive and get away. But the children in their care might be injured or killed. So they had the choice to stay there, and they said, if we stay here, we might be injured or killed, but we're going to stay and try to save as many children as we can. And so they grabbed everything they could, ran everybody into the back of the building, which had a bathroom. They have no basement there. They had a bathroom there, threw everybody in there, threw their sleeping mats on top of them, including a 7-month-old infant who they strapped into their car seat, and threw everybody into the back room, and the tornado came in the front door.
They kind of like layered themselves, where they would put like a mat in between one of the kids and another kid and a mat. They all kind of piled on top of each other, and then they put themselves on top of the kids.
So they would take it, and as the tornado came in the front door, the entire building collapsed down on top of them.
And if you saw it, you would never think anybody at all was in that building at all.
Yeah.
And it was just incredible, and they all walked away, and we saw some of the children.
Yeah, we actually, what happened was, they actually, the one girl was on top of the kids. The tornado hit them, and she actually, at one point, picked her head up out of the debris and looked directly up into the heart of the tornado as it passed over her. And she said had dark spots coming in her vision and sparkly. And then she said, this is it, I die in the next 30 seconds. And then she thought, wait a second, what am I doing? And she slammed her head back underneath the debris, and that saved everybody's lives. It was the collapse of the building, because the building formed a protective armor for them, because the flying debris is actually what injures you. So if you have pieces of debris flying around, that's what's going to hurt. I mean, an iPhone thrown at you, I could throw it at, how fast can you throw it? Maybe 20, 30 kilometers an hour. I can maybe throw it like 30 or 40 kilometers an hour, maybe. And, it's going to hurt. We got a Blue Jays pitcher in here. He'll throw it at 120. That's going to really hurt, maybe break a bone. But the wind speeds in this tornado were almost 400 kilometers an hour. So at that point, you're talking about cars flying around. So the debris actually saved their lives. And we get a chance to talk to them later, and the one girl had 27 stitches, I think, in her back from the flying debris. She basically used herself to save. Every single one of those kids survived.
Oh, wow. Mark has a saying he always tells me. He says, it's not how fast the wind is going, it's what the wind is throwing at you.
What the wind is blowing.
What the wind is blowing.
There you go. Yeah, so that's the thing. And if you want to see EF5 damage, if you look beside the guy there, see that brown patch? That's EF5. That's EF5 damage there. The damage is total. It's complete. There is nothing left. It yanks the grass out of the ground. And that is the daycare's car right there, right in the edge of the EF5 damage. And this is Canada's only EF5. Now I want you to watch for two things flying through the air. Right there. That's one. Then wait for the second one. Here it comes. There it is. Right there. Now you guys might not know what that is, but I'm going to take it back. That first one right there. Right there. That's a one-story house.
Wow.
That is a house going through the air. So there it goes. And then wait for it. You can see the second one. That's a minivan full of construction, full of wallboard and cement and everything else. So it weighs, that truck weighed about 5 tons.
Wow.
And the tornado picked it up and threw it like it was nothing. All right. So now we're gonna take you guys out of here. So hopefully you guys can still see us. Hello, everyone. I can see you guys. You guys can't see us, but I'm gonna show you one thing. Just a second. So I have to jump down to my videos for presentation. Here we go, guys. This is well-known footage, and hopefully you guys will like it. Wait for it. Wait for VLC to come up. My computer is churning away here. Here we go. Now, those little white dots you're seeing on the ground, that's hail.
Serious rotation here. I think I see a funnel. I think. And it's right to our south. Yeah, debris on the ground, tornado.
Now, what you're hearing, Jaclyn, what is this?
That's a tornado siren. Those are used regularly in the United States. You may have heard them in Austin, Texas, but they warn you that a tornado has been spotted and you need to get to shelter right away.
Now, is this a tornado?
Yes, it is.
That's right. You don't need the funnel all the way to the ground for it to be a tornado.
As long as you see the debris at the ground and the debris cloud and interaction with the surface, it's actually in contact with the surface.
So that is a tornado. So all it is a rotating column of air. That's all that a tornado is. So there you go.
This particular piece of footage that you're about to see has been used in major films and with big actors and big names. Our friend Scott McPartland shot this video.
I was right behind her on the other side of the tornado. He's from New York, Austin, Texas, so.
Whenever you guys feel it's time to go, we'll go. Whoa, tornado crossing the road right in front of us.
That's our friend Chris in front of us before her car was destroyed by hail. Okay, wait for it. Here we go. Here we go. And go.
Oh my God. Yes, I did. What happened there? The whole house came apart. That house is completely gone.
All right. I'm going to stop sharing so you guys can see us again. Hey.
Welcome back.
Okay, so one thing about Scott wasn't quite correct about that. The whole house didn't actually disappear. They actually lost the second floor and the roof off that house. So the 2 people were in the basement.
And that's good. And we actually met a family this season in May where we were in Chapman, Kansas, and a very large tornado moved over a woman's house and it destroyed the house. And we shot, we went with our video cameras and shot the damage after, and she was in her basement and perfectly fine, walked
she
away.
was okay.
So it is so important that as cool as those videos can seem, and you think, wow, it is so important to respect Mother Nature and respect severe weather, and make sure you listen to those sirens if you have them in your area, and make sure you get to shelter if you have a storm shelter, or get to your basement.
All right. Are you guys ready for question and answer, guys?
We are.
Awesome. All right. So we're going to start with Mrs. Piscatelli's class. If you guys want a question, go right ahead, guys.
Go up to the thing. We're coming.
Take your time.
Hello.
All good.
Okay. So how long does it usually take to fix the damage of some of the storms?
Oh, that's the first time I've ever gotten that question. That's a fantastic question. It sort of depends on the type of storm that you're talking about. If you're talking about something major like Hurricane Katrina, they're still repairing New Orleans today. right? Even some of the hurricane damage that can take many, many years. Greensburg, Kansas, we actually were there. That was in 2005, I believe, and we were there this year.
Yeah.
And the town is mostly repaired.
It's incredible. When they decided to rebuild their town, they did it in a very efficient way, so an environmentally friendly way. So everything's run off the grid and solar powered. It's really cool. So for them, a horrible situation actually turned out pretty good in the end. They rebuilt in a very great way. The other thing, though, is sometimes Mark and I have gone back a year later or 2 years later to a damaged path, and they're still, you know, putting up fences or putting in grass and plants and things like that. So it takes a long time.
Great question. All right, we'll head to Mrs. Wilson's class. Let me demute your mic.
Hello, can you hear us?
Oh, yeah, you can hear you.
All right, go ahead, Zoran.
How do tornadoes form and get bigger?
Oh, good question.
Well, a tornado is, as Mark had mentioned, is a rotating column of air. And you need to get the winds to do the proper things in order to get that rotation to occur. So basically it has to do with our winds changing direction as we go higher up in the atmosphere. And a way I would always think about like vorticity or spin or the tornado is if you think about an ice skater. You know when an ice skater is doing a turn and she or he has their arms out, and then if they bring their arms in, they go a lot faster. Do you notice that? They always spin faster as a skater. It's kind of the same thing with a tornado. So it starts as a rotating part of the entire storm. And then that vorticity, that spin tightens up and becomes potentially a really strong, fast tornado. So there's many reasons how they form. Mark, you can talk to that too, but it's all to do with the wind, basically.
But the amazing thing is that even as sophisticated as our knowledge is nowadays, we don't know why one thunderstorm produces a tornado and another one doesn't. Because keep in mind that all that a tornado is part of the energy of the thunderstorm itself. So if you don't have a thunderstorm, you don't have a tornado. So if that thunderstorm's not rotating, you won't have a tornado. But if the thunderstorm is rotating, the core, what we call the mesocyclone, the core of that is rotating, that whole thing, that is going to happen, that spin gets imparted down to, as Jaclyn was saying, as it gets tighter and tighter and tighter, it goes faster and faster and faster. So that's what can happen. So depends kind of how strong the thunderstorm itself is. So we often get people saying, how do we stop a tornado? We can stop a tornado by setting off a bomb near it. And I say, well, yeah, but the bomb needs to be the size of, I don't know, a nuclear weapon. And I said, if you're setting off nuclear weapons inside the United States on a regular basis, you have other issues.
No nuclear tornadoes. We'll go to Glenwood Elementary.
We're coming.
No problem.
What was the highest wind speed a tornado has ever went to?
Good question. I know this one.
Do you know this one?
I do know this one. 318 miles an hour is the fastest recorded wind speed or approximated wind speed, because no instrument can ever get in there and survive that kind of hit. And that was in the 1999 Oklahoma City tornado. But it's also been estimated that it was matched by the El Reno tornado, and then also matched potentially by the one that we showed some of the debris from. And for the Canadians, that's about 475 kilometers an hour. So probably faster, if you guys are from London, probably faster than you've ever driven on the 401.
One hopes.
Yes.
All right, we'll go to Mrs. Robillard's class.
Thanks, Jason. How long do most of the tornadoes and hurricanes last?
Ooh, good question.
That is it. Well, hurricanes tend to be a very long duration weather event. So they can happen over days at a time. In fact, weeks even. A hurricane can start in the ocean in one part of the ocean and last weeks by the time it gets to the end of its life. Whereas tornadoes tend to be a lot quicker. They can happen in a matter of seconds. Or Mark, how long have you seen tornadoes?
the average time for tornadoes on the ground, which is sort of if you say tornado on the ground, it doesn't really make sense. But tornadoes last on average about 10 minutes. But the stronger the tornado, the longer it will last. So EF5 tornadoes can sometimes be on the ground for an hour or two. And that's what makes them very, very frightening, is that the very, very strong tornadoes tend to be very long-lived.
Excellent. All right, we'll head to the gang in London, Ontario.
All right.
Actually, London, I'm going to be right near you guys today, London. I'm going after snow squalls.
When was your worst fear chasing storms, and why was it the worst?
My worst fear?
Worst fear?
Oh, I can answer that one.
Yeah?
Yeah, when you drove us into a tornado.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding.
Well, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I mean, in terms of being nervous about thunderstorms and tornadoes, it hasn't been too bad. One of the ones that Jaclyn and I had a bit of a uh-oh moment was El Reno, because we didn't actually know that the whole gigantic thing coming towards us was one tornado. It just looked like a gray sky or gray cloud underneath the storm.
It was so big, it just looked like a big wall of rain or a cloud. Yeah,
and then basically at the very last moment, we heard from our friend George saying tornado, and we realized what we were looking at, and we booked it out of there as fast as we could, and we got south of the tornado just in time.
And at the time when we were going south, we were backed up by traffic. So there were a bunch of cars. In fact, we showed a little clip of that in this presentation. That was pretty scary because I looked out my window and I saw people getting into their storm shelters underground. And I'm looking at this massive tornado, which, by the way, was 4.2 kilometers wide.
Or about 2.6 miles wide. It's the largest tornado ever recorded.
If you think about like one farm to another, like one property to another farm would be about what, 1 kilometer, 1 mile? So times that by 3, maybe 4. It was huge. You can't even think about that. So big. And so that was a very scary moment.
Glad you got out. We'll go to Mrs. McKay's class.
Go ahead, Abby.
What's the most craziest thing you've ever caught on camera?
Craziest?
That's great. I love these guys. These are great questions from everybody today, by the way. I'm loving these questions.
Craziest thing. I'm going with Mark Robinson. Yeah. Oh, no, that's not what I meant to say. There's crazier.
Wow. Crazy stuff. You know, there's been so many for me. Jack, you go ahead first, so you can think of something.
Okay, yeah. One of the funniest moments on camera was we were covering a flooding story in South Carolina, but a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. And we were on the side of the road and we were right by the ocean and there was a bunch of flooding and this big surge of ocean water came up on shore because it was high tide. And plus there was a lot of rain and it was flooding. So all this water came and then it retreated back to the ocean and there was a bunch of flooding and puddles and that sort of thing. And I'm sitting in the car and I'm tweeting or doing something on Twitter. All of a sudden you're outside shooting and then what happened, Mark?
A rat came running out of the sewers, went running over to the car, and attempted to jump inside the car with Jaclyn. And we got it all on camera. It was very, very funny. It's been played at the Weather Network a few times of me yelling, "There's a rat coming!" and Jaclyn screaming, "Where?" So in terms of crazy stuff that I've done, one of the crazier ones was lava fountains in an active volcano lava lake in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. In 2 volcanoes, one called Nyamiragira and the other one called Nyiragongo. And we actually got airlifted into the Nyamiragira by the UN in a helicopter gunship. So we actually were lifted in there by the Army, by the Air Force, and then we had to fly down the side of the mountain with both doors open, filming, and we were doing 225 kilometers an hour, so about 190 miles an hour.
That's crazy.
10 feet above the
lava lake.
No, above the trees.
Oh.
So that the rebels couldn't, because they were shooting at us, so that they couldn't hit us with their bullets.
Wow.
So what you're saying is being on the Weather Network is a boring job.
Yeah. It's always in a cubicle.
All right. Last but not least, you have Mr. D'Amato's class. If you guys could demute your own mic, that would be wonderful, and then you can ask a question.
What kind of equipment do you What kind of equipment do you use besides for cameras?
Ooh,
Great question.
Good question. It sort of depends on what we're doing. So if I'm talking about climbing into a volcano, I have a full harness and then a heat suit that I can put on, and so the heat from the lava doesn't burn me. And then you have to climb down. So I actually climbed down 500 meters straight down the side of a volcano into the volcano to get out beside the lava lake, and you have to have all kinds of equipment for that.
I can only imagine. I've never done that. Not sure I'm going to either. But you know what? We have to wear all kinds of really warm winter gear. When we're chasing a winter storm, Mark has his parka right here. So we have all parts of our body protected, and so should you, especially people from London, Ontario there, and people, I think there's someone from Alberta today. You know cold, you have to dress for it, because frostbite is, here, let's just fix that there.
We go.
We go. Frostbite is a very real thing, right? So you gotta be careful.
Yeah, you gotta be very careful.
And one time we were in a blizzard, actually, and we were both bundled up. We both looked like this. And we had everything covered, and I couldn't see Mark only about, I don't know how many.
I was 5 feet away from where you couldn't see me.
Not far, 5-10 feet max.
Yeah.
I could not see him. He was completely gone. And I got kind of scared because we were out shooting with our cameras, and I was like, Mark, I'm yelling at him like, don't leave. Because people actually, in blizzards will get lost, say we're maybe walking home or walking from a neighbor's house, and they end up being left in a snowbank because they can't find their way home. So when you're in a winter blizzard, make sure you're inside, and surrounding yourself with people, and make sure you're bundled up.
Yeah. Now, in terms of chasing tornadoes, the most important piece of equipment we have is the car.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got car, we've got obviously the cameras.
Yep.
We have hail shields on the windows to make sure we don't get our windows taken out. We have radios in there so we can talk to people if we get ourselves into trouble.
Like CB radios.
Yeah, like CB radios. And we also have this. This is one of the most important pieces of equipment in the last few years, cell phones. So we actually can look at radar on our cell phones. So it's actually a really important piece of equipment, because we want to make sure that we get as much information into the car as possible so that we know what's going on. And for those of you that watch Legends of Tomorrow, this is my Captain Cold costume. So.
All right, guys, that was outstanding. I know the classes have to go to lunch very soon, so what we do at the end of every hangout is I'm going to demute everyone's microphone, and you guys can say a big thank you to Mark and Jaclyn. So if you want to go right ahead and do that, thank you so much, guys. All right. All right, we love the enthusiasm, guys. Thank you so much for being with us here today, Mark and Jaclyn. To all the classes, you guys had great questions. That was awesome, and we hope to have you all exploring by the seat of your pants again soon. Have a lovely Christmas break, guys.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.